If you had a message to tell the rescue crew that saved you, what is your message?
I owe them my life. I owe them our lives. They just, I always have the utmost respect for the Coast Guard because they did some dangerous work. They really took their own lives in their hand. You know, they did jeopardize their own lives to save us.
Water got all the way, can't even come upstairs all the way. This was the living room. Had some pretty curtains and I had a new sofa set in there. And that's what it looked like after the hurricane. I didn't think I'd make it through it, honestly didn't.
The wind was blowing so hard, I couldn't do nothing with the boat. Was just whipping back and forth. I couldn't do nothing with it. So I seen a bunch of trees, like limbs and stuff, floating, and I nosed it in there and I left it there. We stayed almost 7 hours in there, and the wind would hit the boat, and it was just like a bam, and the boat would almost go over, almost tip over to turn it over, and then it would rock back. And finally the wind started calming down. We sung and we prayed. And Cassie just smiled through the whole thing, you know, little bitty thing smiling. And she said, "Mama, they got a radio in here." So I got the radio and I said, "Mayday." I kept hollering, "Mayday, Mayday, we need some help."
While the storm was coming in, was still over New Orleans, we decided to follow the storm in with the helos. On the way over, we decided to go down south where the opening of the river was. We heard a mayday from a frantic woman saying that her and her daughter and her grandchild were stuck on a small boat.
I said, "We found a flare gun." I said, "You want us to shoot a flare? We only had 2 flares. He said, "Yeah, shoot a flare." I shot it. He said, "No, we didn't see nothing." He said, "Don't shoot the next one."
After about 15 minutes of looking for them, we finally saw the flare, and we found a small aluminum boat with a enclosed cabin directly underneath some trees in the middle of a Port Sulphur neighborhood, surrounded by houses that were just about completely underwater.
And I looked up there, and this big orange helicopter was up there. And this man just come down, and he jumped in the water, and then he climbed in the boat, and I guess we was just panicked, hysterical. And he hugged me and he said, "Y'all gonna be okay." He said, "We're gonna take care of y'all gonna be okay."
Went inside the boat and found a woman, her daughter, and then the grandchild. The grandchild was a 4-month-old premature girl.
Woman and baby are getting in the basket.
He got Tasha in the boat with Cassidy. She was holding her in her arms, and 1 dog. He put the dog in the basket. I said, "I'm not leaving without my animals." He said, "They're coming with us." So he lifted her up.
Rest of the shore, charges on day being extended. Moving in survivor.
Then he set the basket back down. I had 2 dogs and I was in the basket, and the basket blew into them tree limbs, and nettles broke the limbs and all and got us out of there and picked us up, and that was the scariest part, getting that basket into the helicopter. I was terrified.
What is there that you feel that hasn't been told yet from the story, or anything that you want to add to the story?
There's not too much to add to it. I just think that, you know, the Coast Guard saved our lives. There's nothing I can explain to you any better than that. They saved our lives.